Hello everyone and welcome to our discussion about career learning to tackle career stereotypes. Our discussion was developed under the framework of the PRIME project financed by the European Commission. First of all, some general information about career stereotypes that are usually defined as preconceived attitudes about a particular occupation or as an overgeneralized, not true, misleading, oversimplified idea and perception about job and people that do their job. This is very important in education because young people can be easily influenced by occupational stereotypes, and this strongly emphasizes on the important role of teachers and the career counselors and career education, as it is well known that information is the most effective way of tackling stereotypes, and teachers and other specialists are needed in early career education to provide this information to pupils. Some general ideas about the occupational stereotypes. Probably the most common occupational stereotype is the gender stereotype, which makes it the hardest to tackle. Gender stereotypes usually reflect traditional female and male role models, which have been hardened over the years and are very resistant to change. Gender stereotypes mostly refer to some professions being associated more often with men or with women, and also with the fact that men are most often associated with some profession and women with other profession. Age stereotype mostly refer to professional characteristics that are attributed to an entire group or an entire population based only on their age. This includes positive information and negative information. For instance, the stereotype about the older workers include negative aspects like less motivated, less willing to participate to training, resistant to change, etc., and also positive aspects like they are more reliable and committed, they have better social skills. Financial stereotypes are linked to the fact that some professions are perceived as well paid and others are perceived like underpaid, usually due to some overgeneralization of a very well known example, uh, with the mass media playing a key role into promoting this perception bias. Uh, Status stereotypes are more or less similar with financial stereotypes and is linked to the perception of some career as providing a higher status in the society, sometimes irrespective of the payment for that job. Uh, Financial and status stereotypes explain the social pressure on the pupils to adopt a career that is perceived as providing the financial comfort and the higher status. The danger being that children could choose this kind of careers irrespective of their interest, irrespective of their abilities, etc. Immigration stereotypes are present mostly in poorer countries and are linked to perceiving the migration as a career path. Uh, these stereotypes can have an important negative consequence on children's career planning, as some teenagers don't really plan a career, but only prepare themselves for migration. Ethnic stereotypes are present mostly in the countries that are a destination for migrants, countries with many ethnic minorities, and are linked to strong convictions related to the perfect match between an ethnicity and some profession, usually associated with stereotypes of the ethnicity itself. Last but not least, there are some stereotypes about specific job and people. particular stereotypes that target specific jobs, specific people, usually explained by lack of information and overgeneralization. For instance, there are many stereotypes about movie stars, and still most of the people believing in those stereotypes never met a movie star. The most exciting specific stereotypes are the ones related to the new professions like content creators, bloggers, YouTubers, etc. With most of us not knowing very much about these professions, but still tending to have a social perception about them. Well, our idea was to design and propose to you two practical activities that are designed to enhance the teacher's participation in in career education. Our first activity is related to the teacher's role in tackling career stereotypes to career learning. And we started from the roles described by Hooley, Watt, and Andrews in terms of tutorial, teaching, and leadership roles. Those roles are presented in detail in datasheet 1 that is provided to the trainees with the request of reflecting on the specific situation of career learning in their school as well as on their personal involvement in career learning activities. We will only do a short review of the roles, starting with the tutorial roles that are linked to career informant, which is, as the name says, related to providing resources and information to children, but clearly stating that this is not the only option or the only way to build a career. So as many information as possible for the pupils. The second tutorial role is the pastoral support, which is linked to the fact that teachers are approached by students with their concern and issues, sometimes directly linked to career, sometimes not. Although the teachers are not expected to be able to solve all those issues, they are expected to talk about them with the students. The teaching role of teachers in career education is probably the most important. And again, there are two sides. Within subject, teachers can include career learning activities in the subject they teach or specific career learning programs where students are provided with a clearly demarcated space for learning about the world of work and considering the future. Last but not least, the leadership role. Teachers can lead career learning programs or can be involved in senior leadership, which is probably most relevant for the school's senior leadership. So, as a general point of view, teachers can have three specific roles: tutorial roles, which is to provide information and support for the children; teaching roles, to include career education within their subject or as a specific learning program; and leadership roles. Our first task for the trainees is group one. So teachers are divided into smaller groups or in online rooms if the training is done online, according to the subject they teach. Each group is asked to focus on the teaching role and on a specific career stereotype, and to identify at least one example of an effective way to include a career learning activity in their teaching hours to tackle that specific stereotype. Each group could have like 15 minutes to identify their potential action strategy. Then each group present their solution with a group discussion focusing on the positive aspect of each proposed strategy, focusing on encouraging the participants' reflection on the potential of including the activities in their subject and to adapt it for their school or for their subject. Focusing on potential risk, focusing on potential way to involve more teachers in these activities, and most of all, focusing on reflecting on the potential effectiveness of this kind of activities. Second task is an individual one. Teachers are asked to select individually one activity from the one presented by all groups, an activity that he or she feels that it's the most relevant for their class and personal teaching style. Each teacher is asked to reflect individually on the specific measures that he or she would implement as leader of a career learning program in their school in order to transform that activity into a learning program done at school level, focusing on both the difficulties and positive impact. So this individual activity requires a shift in the role from teaching role to leader role. After 10 minutes of reflection, the trainer moderates a group discussion started by participants that voluntarily want to share their reflection. Our second practical activity is mostly linked to the collaboration between teachers and career counselors or career advisors in career learning activities. The assumption is that the involvement of teachers in career learning does not exclude career advisors, but encourages the interaction and cooperation between different professionals. In data sheet 2, there is a synthesis on the specific role of teachers, career advisors, and career leaders from the same source, Hooley, Watts, and Andrews, 2015. The task for the teachers is to read carefully the information and to reflect on specific situations of career learning in their school and collaboration among different specialists in their school for organizing and delivering career learning activities. So we will make a quick review of the roles of teachers and career advisors. We neglect the role of career leaders from the original theoretical framework because it's more or less irrelevant for most of the teachers. So, while teachers deliver the career program in the school and should have an awareness about career and labor market, career advisors provide specialist input, special resources, and up-to-date intelligence on the opportunities. In the same time, teachers address the need of each pupil and link the curriculum to careers. The teacher is the leader on curriculum and has a responsibility to integrate career education where appropriate. In the same time, career advisors provide individual supports for students if required and specialized input. Teachers identify the curriculum space where employers' input can be useful, while career advisors provide reflective opportunities for students to talk about their experience with employers. Uh, Teachers have the role of discussing possible further and higher education route related to their subject, and teachers engage in informal career conversation. In the same time, career advisors provide detailed technical information about entry requirements and application process and more in-depth guidance. So those are the big differences between the roles of teachers and career counselors, as both are involved in the same activities. The first task that we design is that after a short period of short reflection, the trainer asks the trainees to select from the activities they taught an activity that has the potential strong contribution to tackle career stereotype and to reflect on their contribution as teachers and other specialist contribution in that activity. So they need to to think about an activity and more important to reflect on their role and the career advisor's role in these activities. 2, 3, 4 volunteers, depending on the time, share their ideas, and the group discussion focus on emphasizing on the positive aspects, encouraging reflection, establishing potential ways to involve more teachers in the same activities or other stakeholders, and most important, focusing on reflection on the specific role of teachers in career learning, um, as the career counselors cannot do all activities by themselves. So, most important in these activities is that teachers reflect on their role and on their collaboration with the career advisors. The second task is a group one. So teachers attending the training are divided into smaller groups from the same school or using any other criteria, including random grouping. Each group is asked to focus on a specific career stereotype and to create a draft for a career learning activity to tackle that stereotype. The activity should involve more teachers, but also other specialists. Uh, the task is to draft a realistic approach, and the trainer insists on the fact that trainees should design activities that can be implemented in their schools with the resources that they have available. Trainees have 20 to 25 minutes to draft their plan activities and 5 minutes for each group to share their ideas with the other participants. The trainer moderates a debate focusing on the existence of many original ideas and many original ways to involve different specialists in career education, focusing on the importance of teachers' involvement in those activities and collaboration with career advisors, and concluding on the fact that any teacher can and should design such activities for their pupils, as sometimes it can be very short activities that can be integrated in the curriculum. Those were our activities, and we hope they will be useful in your school, in your training activities, to train your teachers in order to plan, design, and implement specific career education activities. Thank you for your attention.